Pledge allegiance to the
To
flag
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice.
and justice for all.
Okay. Jesse, go ahead.
Notice requirement.
Guy, well, one second. When you look at the, why? Because it's hard to hear on the mic. You can check.
The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act of this meeting have been met by transmitting the notice of the regular meeting to the Commission's official newspaper on February 6, 2025, posting the notice where required and filing a copy of the notice to the Commission clerk. The Deal Commission meeting will be audio and videotaped and will be shown on APTV, Optimum 77, and throughout most of Monmouth County on FiOS 28. Allenhurst?
Here.
Asbury Park?
Yes.
Deal? Here. Interlaken? Present. Lock Harbor? Here. Neptune?
Here.
And Ocean?
Here.
Yay.
Very good.
This one.
Wow. Okay. I just want to now we're going to be going through, agenda items. And what I want the commissioners to remember, let the person talking complete the full briefing. I will ask at the end of that statement or presentation if there's any comments from the commissioners. And for the mayor who's first time on, we're going to be open to the public at the end of the session. So we usually go about an hour, maybe less than an hour. So we got a lot of things to do. We've got some interesting information. So we'll start off now.
We have a resolution to approve the minutes of the regular meeting from April 24th, 2025. Somebody offer? Second? Be it resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of the Dealer Commission held on April 24th, 2025 being the same are hereby approved. Allenhurst?
Yes.
Asbury Park?
Yes.
Deal, you have to abstain. Perfect. Interlaken? Yes. Lock Harbor? Yes. Neptune?
Yes.
And Ocean.
Yes, and I have to mention it's one of the thickest minutes we ever did. It's more thicker than the Chinese, but very good. Thank you very much.
And we also have a resolution tonight to approve the treasurer's report and pay bills. Marguerite,
Yes. Balance on hand previous month was $191,235.38. The receipts were $462, for a total balance of $191,697.38. The disbursements came to $10,716.69. So our total on deposit is $180,980.69.
someone please offer the resolution to approve.
I'll offer Asbury Park.
Second.
Second. Allenhurst?
Yes.
Asbury Park?
Yes.
Deal? Yes. Interlaken?
Yes.
Lock Harbor?
Yes.
Neptune?
Yes.
And Ocean.
Yes.
Marguerite, it is.
Okay. I've been talking we've been working hard on this, the grant. And for folks that don't know about it, it's a CD Wall grant. We're trying to solve the problems that were created in 1974, trying to minimize those problems. So we have less soil erosion into the lake and clean the water up coming in because it's an old dump. So we've been not battling, but we've been working with the state, battling a little bit. But we got to the point where we got most of the information done. We submitted it. It looked great. And I got the letter today. And I just have to tell you, it's been a long road. So let me just read it to everybody. Good afternoon, Don. I am happy to tell you that the latest updates from your lakes agreement resolve the remaining issues that were holding up the execution. We're moving the agreement forward for final execution. Signatures right away. You will receive an automatic message from the DEP SAGE system as soon as the agreement is fully executed. And I gave her a very, very nice little fact. I think it showed Carol.
That's great.
But it's wonderful. That was a long haul. That's a 1 year from the time the originally signed it to now. Cleaning up insurance information, things they didn't read initially. that we had to correct in the last couple of months. So anyway, that was great. And one of the Superintendent guy, Robert, impressed that. The update, I gave him a call. I asked if he could run it through all his folks were out. They were on vacation later. So I gave him a call and he goes, I'll check with budget and finance. It was tied up with budget and finance. So budget and finance released it. And we're ready to go next week. We should go. Maybe tomorrow they will sign the document. So,
So just so the commission knows, typically, design is not allowed to begin until the agreement's signed by both parties of the team. In this case, DEP allowed us to start, as we did. We did field surveying of the CB Square Mall Loop Road. We received some information on existing site development plans for CB Square and some of the drainage system. Presented that 2 months ago, I think it was 2 meetings ago. So you saw what the intent of the project is. It's to take the basins along the access road around CB Square Mall and the drainage going into those basins, enlarge the basins, make them a little more efficient, and create the ability to treat the stormwater coming from the CB Square parking lot into those basins, which is uncontrolled now. All that sediment goes under Route 35 across Christie, still correct, and into our lake, which gets to Terrace Pond and fills Terrace Pond with sediment. So since that meeting, we've still been working. We're doing a little more design. Don, Steve, and I are going to meet tomorrow and go over some of the details. But what I've done is I've gotten information on the Cedar Village, I believe it is, to the west from Ocean Township. All of that drainage that comes into two large basins on the west side of Route 18 makes its way into Seaview Square Mall via drainage system under Route 18 and then into these basins. So we have to treat all that.
basically everything from just east of MJ's. East of MJ's.
That's right.
All that water comes.
That's right. Yep. So it's a lot of drainage coming into this, and it's uncontrolled drainage, and that's why we've been suffering for all these years. And once we treat this, there's going to be some additional work done in Ocean Township by Ocean Township to assist us. But they're not going to do it until our project is done. So that's the problem. So we're working on it. Okay. How much time do we have? A month?
Any questions on that for the commissioners? Yes.
Peter, does the Route 66 project with putting down more asphalt have any impact?
No, that doesn't come to us. It really doesn't. It's close. You know, but
River.
Yeah, Shark River, and then if you go, all gets to Shark River. If you go a little west, it goes to Jumping Brook to Shark River. A little bit east, it comes down and makes its way through the drainage system on 66 to Shark.
And any additional areas used to worry about that? Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
And Steve's going to work with.
Yeah, Steve's doing a great job. We're going to be talking about it tomorrow, and we'll have updates monthly. And so the plans are done, and we'll go out to bid, and hopefully get all the work done before our grant runs out. We had 3 years in the agreement. They changed that to 30 months, but it took so long to approve the agreement, we basically have a little less than a year, I believe.
And okay, we're going to go right to shoreline protection. And Jeannie, I'm going to let you run with this because you've got some good information into it. So go ahead.
Okay, sure. Well, you know, just we had at one time had a meeting. Last time we had a meeting with the NJDEP code enforcement people was in 2022. And, you know, because we've had concerns with the kinds of enforcement or lack of enforcement that's been happening. And at that time, you know, we both, NJDEP and DLA Commission, felt that our missions are common. You know, we both have similar goals, and so we could work together better if we had more communications. But that was the last communication that we had. We talked about more meetings, and then that was the end of it. So I'd been trying to reach them again to set up a meeting. And just this week, I got an email saying, okay, we'd like to meet with you. We know you want to meet with us. This is someone we've never spoken with before. But one piece of that letter that was good news too was that I don't know if anybody remembers the name Tammy Miller, but she was one of the enforcement people who helped work with us and advised us in terms of some of the issues we were having. And she retired. So, everybody said goodbye to her, but now she's back. She's cut back as a part-time employee with enforcement. So that's good because she knows us. She knows the lake for many years. And we have now set up a meeting. Don, Steve, and I are going to meet with the new person in charge, Morgan. Gosh, sorry, don't have her last name in front of me because I didn't know you were going to ask me to speak about it. But and Tammy will be there. And so we have our meeting, and hopefully this will be not the first or the last for the next 3 years. Hopefully we're going to have a relationship where we can continually meet and discuss what's going on. And part of what I was saying in my letters to them is all along too, we were looking for support, some educational support, because they had said that part of their team was beginning to expand to do educational outreach for the public. So that would be useful to us too. And, getting people more informed, can ask questions about permits and that sort of thing that they handle and that they are responsible for enforcing.
No, it's been long in the works, so thank you, Jeannie.
Yeah.
So let me just add something on that too, Don, because the person that we're meeting with is Madison Buchler.
Madison,
And so, and then along with Tammy, we'll have at least two people that we can reach out to. As Jeannie pointed out, we have developed, materials that we've distributed to the towns and actually distributed to lakefront property owners, informing them about some of the limitations that they have on themselves in terms of clearing vegetation within 50 feet of the edge of the lake. So part of what we'll be doing in advance of this meeting with DEP is putting together 2 or 3 salient talking points so that we can control the narrative and then also prepare a short agenda. That way we'll have our points laid out ahead of time with them. They'll understand what our issues are, where we need their help. Because these projects, or these, let's call them projects, whatever, people are disturbing the land, it continues to happen. And even with all the public outreach and education that we've done, it just seems that, these problems continue to occur, and they do have collectively a negative impact on the lake. So, we need DEP's assistance to at least come in, maybe help the towns, help us, inform the property owners that, what they're doing may be regulated. In some cases, it may not. But at least, we need to have some type of assistance from DEP on these matters.
Yeah, it's also going to help the property owners too, because it's just not a negative thing. We need to know how to communicate to the property owners who they should talk to. And we have to make sure we have the right numbers and information on the brochure, which I think we do. And the brochure is excellent. It's on our website. I think all the towns have a copy of it in their town halls. Yeah,
and in addition to that, some of the work that they're doing on their properties actually is, it impacts their own properties, makes those shorelines more likely to become eroded, and so they're not doing themselves a favor. They think that clearing that vegetation is beneficial, but it's not beneficial to them as property owners, and it's obviously not beneficial to the lake.
right.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for watching. Let's keep going. Let's see. We got the question, and we'll have a full report next month. Okay. The other thing, thank you, Jeannie, for sending out the owner's document or the guide to lakefront owners to all the commissioners, digital form. And I guess what you asked is for them to pass that along to the construction departments so they can maybe incorporate that into the websites.
It is up on the Asbury Park website now, and they're also including the information that we talked about in terms of what just that small piece of information that if somebody's doing any kind of construction along the lake, building or whatever, that they need to contact the NJDEP and make sure that what they're doing is okay and approved. It may need a permit, it may not, like Steve said, but we want people to know this. This is what they need to do. And I think the message is getting out because right next door to me, the guy that just bought a property next to me said, oh yeah, they told us when we were doing this work here that we need to contact the NJDEP to see if we need a permit. And I was like, yes, it's working.
Yep.
So,
Good, very good. Okay. Next. 2005 weed treatment, I think that's, we awarded.
Yep, we boarded.
Where's the other?
Lake Science.
Lake Management Sciences.
I sent him the signed proposal. He's getting ready to work on the project.
And that's dealing with the west section of the Valley, Colonial Terrace and also Hollow Brook over in the electric section. If need be,
Right.
it's treated. Hasn't been treated. And last year wasn't treated, didn't need to be treated. So we only treat what we need to be treated.
Right. Exactly. It's on it's an as needed basis.
Right.
And they'll secure all the necessary permits. They're using NJDEP approved and EPA approved aquatic herbicides. It's nothing new, but like as Don pointed out last year, there was not enough weed growth to, necessitate a treatment. So no treatments were done last year. It's only if there's an excessive amount of these invasive, non-native aquatic plants.
do you know when the treatment will be done this year?
The process is they'll be coming out towards the end of this month, beginning of June, make a visual of assessment. I normally, go out there with them just to confirm, what they've seen and what the assessment, if there's, significant amount of plant growth already. And then typically they try to time the treatment maybe towards like the end of June, the goal being that one treatment perhaps it may be all that's needed for the entire season, or maybe two treatments. It's a little bit tricky with this lake because of the amount of flow, particularly in the Terrace Pond area, and also with the golf course utilizing some of that water for irrigation. So all that stuff needs to be taken in consideration. And so in any event, we'll probably be out there like towards the end of the month, make an assessment, and then typically, when a treatment is needed, it starts at the close to the mid to the end of June, depending on the density of plants.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Any other old business that we did in goose management? Goose management's going very, very well. I don't know the exact count, but I know they've been on the lake at least 3 times. And you might not see them, but they paddle around and look around, and we'll have reports, people calling in and spotting nests, and it turns out the nests were cut. It'll be added by the USDA. So if you see them around the lake, if you see a nest, just contact one of your commissioners, and we can track it down. Right now, it's going well. I saw one a nest or a goslings in Colonial Terrace, and I think we just saw 2 by the Interlake Pump Station. 2 geese, 2 baby geese.
For those, Don, if you would, just for the people that I
Sure.
see it and the public who may not know, we're carrying out with the USDA, we're doing treatments, having the USDA treat goose nests. Nests are spotted by them, or if the public reports that they see a nest. So if you see a goose nest and you go onto our website, you can contact us and tell us the location of the nest. This, I believe she goes up until the first week in June, Don. I think that was
That's correct.
So up until then, where they're still laying eggs and they can be treated. If you see a nest, let us know and we can send the USDA to treat those eggs.
Okay, thanks, James. We're going to move on. Any other old business?
I just have a question, old business, in terms of the recertification agreement. Have all 7 towns now signed the amendment, and do we have that in?
I know that answer. The amendments are going out. This
The
week,
second amendment is going.
second time is
We
going,
haven't received, Asbury Park's original agreement. We haven't received their first agreement,
no was approved, I think, we know
but
that,
we've never
but we
received
never received it, Gina.
What is it that you haven't received yet?
the
Jeff?
original agreement.
The original,
Voted on.
okay, and the
And then-
amendment,
The amendment was never,
Amendment one.
one was never sent back either.
which, both amendments or one
No,
amendment?
just one.
One amendment and the original agreement.
They have not received the second amendment yet.
Okay,
No town has yet.
are they the only ones that hasn't?
That's correct.
Okay, I'll see what I can do about
I
that.
think payment too. I think.
Oh, and the payment.
That's lots of fun. But I do compliment, by the way, this is all business, the sewer leak in Asbury. I have to compliment the Asbury Sewer Authority and the road department. They did a great job stopping the flow. During our cleanup, we spotted toilet paper coming out of the pipe by the high school, which kind of surprised me and everyone else. So we got right on it, and within 2 hours, they had slowed down the flow almost to a trickle. And by midnight, they had bypassed the problem and sent the sewage south. I think it's about 4,000. That's why the road was closed for about 2 weeks. They had a challenge. They had to fix that pipe as an old pipe, and they had to fix 2 stormwater pipes that were right above it. So there was plenty of work that was done by private contractors and such, but everything's flowing well, and no more sewage coming into the lake. So I thank you, Asbury.
And then the JDP tested the waters and found that the account had come down for E. coli, right?
Yeah.
It actually came down so low you could swim in it, according to them. That's what the DEP said. I didn't get my bathing suit on, I was a little cold out there. They said it was swimming. Okay, with that in mind, the first topic, various topics was we talked about the county revisiting their testing off the bridges. They tested in 2017, 2018, various different lakes on the shore. So I asked them if they could come back and retest exactly what they did before. I got a call back. Unfortunately, I was in the midst of being a grandfather, so wasn't able to talk to them. But I did call back, and we're going back and forth, and we have to get contact. But I'm guessing they're going to be willing to do something. Maybe not a whole series of tests, maybe the E. coli piece, and we can have that done monthly in the summer and get it publicized, so everybody knows what the condition of the lake is, at least for the E. coli standpoint. So that's good news. The other thing I was asked to do was to call on the oil. We had oil leak 2 years ago on the lake. It was a pretty major oil spill from Asbury. It was the 2029 storm, 2023. September 20.
September 29.
29, 2023. That was a big storm. The stormwater, the streets were flooding, everything was flooding. But
That's
the
the
key thing,
picture.
yeah, hold on. The key thing was, hold on. The key thing, that's a picture behind you?
Yes, that's the
Oh,
picture
I got you.
of Wesley Lake.
I remember, I don't mean to say.
So the water came up, it pushed the oil up, and it started flooding our lake. And we didn't really see it for another storm. We had another storm a couple weeks later, and that's during the fall cleanup again. Of course, it's always fall cleanup we find this thing, correct? And we saw oil pouring into the lake. And it was unbelievable. We got the DEP over, and within an hour, I believe, we actually found the source, which was the old bread factory at the water. So that's a big lot that they're developing and put 126 apartments in or whatever. But they did remediation, did a great job remediating, and they were supposed to look at the lake and see what effects it had on the lake. And when I called the guy the other day, he hesitated. There was silence on the phone. And he goes, I'll get back to you next week. I don't think they did it. So I'm asking for him. I said, we were walking in oil in Interlake and the shoreline.
There's still machine.
Yeah, there's a lot of sheen in there. It didn't affect Allenhurst at all, but it definitely affected the Interlake and shoreline.
I send you pictures from every.
Yep. So we're going to ask them to remediate it. You know, whether it's going to be taking the muck up with the oil.
Balloons, yeah.
Well,
Oils or.
It's a lot. So anyway, we're looking into that. So that's the two things I was asked to look into last week. We had a couple comments from the public. One was a goose nest, a duck nest found in Asbury Park. I believe it's in their garden behind City Hall.
In the community garden.
The community
train
garden.
station.
Yeah. And they were wondering how to get rid of it. And the answer was let them hatch. That was our group answer from Steve, myself, and they said that was probably that's what they figured. I don't know what they're going to do, but they probably let it hatch and then escort the ducks to a safer spot. I don't know. Maybe escort across the street to the west of the. And the other comment was, what was the other email we had?
Oh, the Sunset Lake.
Oh, got a blazing email. It said the lake was so filthy, polluted. There was needles all over. I'm going, holy crap! We just did a cleanup. It wasn't. Deal Lake doesn't look that. It wasn't Deal. It wasn't Deal Lake. It was Sunset. It was dead fish, but the dead fish, it's herring and shad. I walked over there the day before. It was at least. I saw about 8 dead fish, which isn't uncommon for this time of year. Shad and herring are going to spawn and die.
Yeah.
I don't think it was loss of oxygen personally. But the shoreline was pretty bad in terms of flow. And I did contact the Sunset Lake Commission, so Jeannie, and they were all over. They're going to put their fat. They got a couple of fats they put up. But the big thing is they have a cleanup on June 6th. So I just want to note that for everyone, and we could joint advertise that on our website.
Where is the meeting and what time? June 6th? Can you send me the information?
It's not. I think it's on their website.
Do they have a website?
I think so.
I don't think they do.
No, the town website.
Well, if you just send me the information and I'll post it and put it out in our next
It's
newsletter.
at 6, but I think it might be the 7th. 7th. Okay.
7? All right. Well,
That's that. Hold on, what's it?
it's okay. You can just send it to me.
They also stocked the lake. They stocked, it was over 6,000.
Large.
No, northern pike.
Deal Lake?
In Deal Lake, yeah. So that was a lot of fish. I saw one caught by my area. It was about 26 inches long. It was pretty nice fish. They get big. They do eat a lot. Hopefully they like carp. That's what I'm hoping. I think that's the idea. But we're going to get cat. I think we get catfish. Next we get channel cat, which will grow up to 10 and 15 pounds. So they'll be going in the lake shortly. I asked for bass and they laughed at me. They said, you realize Deal Lake is very good with bass. It's a very healthy lake in terms of bass population. So we're not getting any more bass. Anyway, try.
We have a lot of tradition, training orders.
3 quiet
Training orders about trees and lawn. People have reached out.
a tree in the lake.
Trees in the lake.
Oh, trees in the lake. Okay, yes. Folks were asking about trees in the lake, and our canned answer is if it's a navigation issue, folks should get it out. It's on their property. If not, if it's on public land, the Deal Lake Commission can help out with that. We did before, but we could do it again. But it was one in Colonial Terrace, not a real navigation issue. Could be if it flowed over to the outlet, could be an issue. But right now there's about 10 or 12 turtles sitting on it. So that's the key. It's great for habitat. It's great for fish habitat and turtles and birds and various other things. So trees in the lakes aren't a bad thing. Some people believe it is, but it's pretty cool. Some neighbors actually cut some branches off. They can put a little shelter for the turtles. But anyway, trees in the lake.
Don, the Sunset Lake, the NJDEP was contacted by the city of Asbury Park, and they came and they checked the lake, and they felt that it had something to do with stagnant water and blue-green algae. That I sent you that report from them.
I really still don't believe that. I do believe the blue-green algae was an issue a couple of weeks ago, but it seemed to clear out. I didn't see it the other day. It wasn't as bad.
Yeah, on the DEP harmful algae bloom dashboard, it's not shown as a water body with an existing harmful algae bloom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I think that's all I got. So hold on one second. The biggest one is our new grant. The new 319 grant, we have to we have to put something together. We have 2.5 weeks to put it together. And Steve and I and Clean Ocean Action sat down the other day. Steve's writing up a proposal, basically to update our current stormwater management. Is that correct, Steve?
Yeah, it's sort of right. So there's limited projects that DEP will fund. And so given the problems that we just had with bacteria contamination, that's, in a nutshell, that's going to be the gist of it. We're going to have a watershed management plan, which we have. It's almost like 15 years old now, but it's one of only about 8 that the state recognizes, and we can update that. And so our goal will be to update that with additional emphasis placed on problems associated with bacteria contamination of the lake from various sources, not just like broken sewer pipes, but from upland sources. And this is work that Clean Ocean Action has been doing with us, over the past few years, trying to detect these quote unquote hotspots. Most of them are storm sewer outfalls, and a lot of it has to do just with, like dog waste, geese waste, and there may be some commingled, like, broken sewer pipes, but the majority of it is a function of pet and waterfowl waste.
Yeah, Steve, just a little extra tidbit today, which really got me excited. Talking to the DEP, they mentioned Wesley Lake, and they're getting pressure from politicians to expand the pipe, the outfall pipe, and they're working, which is excellent. But what he said was, "Gee, I'm worried about closing down the beaches when they open up the pipe." Yeah. And I said, number one, it empties out pretty quick. It's not like Deal Lake, which takes a day and a half or 2 days to lower 12 inches. What is it? 12 inches, 12 inch an hour. We can lower in the common. Wesley Lake empties a lot quicker. It's a lot smaller water body. So I mentioned that, and I said, well, what do you think about if we team up with Wesley on, doing the E. coli checks? And I said, we're thinking about doing some kind of E. coli checks and maintenance of the pipes. And we kind of discounted that because the 319 grants won't pay for that. And Bob said there's a SRF program, the state state
revolving fund,
which
right.
will pay for that type of
right. Those are loans. They have been available. They've been available for decades. I mean, Peter's very aware of those types of projects.
But here's the key. The key was if it's proven that it's the wastewater was damaging the quality of the lake water,
mm-hmm.
they can get forgiveness. In other words, the state will pay. That's what he said. And I said, wow, that can't hurt. So we could put it in our proposal that we're going to do that. We'll include Wesley Lake in our study, Wesley, Sunset, and Deal. And that would be the Clean Ocean Action piece, right? They would do that testing. And we just we work with the towns on zooming in on the problem and finding broken piping with them. And that's free for the most part. They need to fix it or at least find it. And then the funding of the fix can be done through the state. So,
all right. I mean, we can discuss that further.
Okay.
Tomorrow I'll go over some of that with Peter too, because that starts to bleed into MS4, and we can't.
Correct.
We can't be doing stuff that the towns are obligated to do through MS4.
Well, we definitely do the testing.
Yeah. I'm just saying we can't use 319 money to cover MS4 compliance stuff.
Right. Cleaning out storm drains and things like that.
Yeah.
Right. Sweeping streets. Got it. Okay. I think, one second. Another one, Ross Aboff, Monmouth University. They have a kickoff on CLONET on June 23rd, 2025. It's going to be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We'll post this on the website. It's going to be at Monmouth University. It's going to highlight all their studies are doing on the lake. So we're included in that. So is the other lakes. So
all the coastal lakes, right?
Yeah. So that's Okay, I think I got it. That's it, yes. Any other new business?
I'd like to just speak a minute about, I was contacted by the Environmental Shade Tree Commission in Asbury Park and the Shock River Coalition, which are asking that we help support the petition that's up to the governor to support the NJ Real rules. We've been sending out news and through the newsletters and on the website information about it, but just for the commissioners too, and might want to share this kind of information with those groups that you work with or yourselves to sign the petition. You see behind me the picture of that's from the 2023 flood, and then the following year they adopted those rules, not because of that flood, but that had been worked on for a long time. And I asked Steve to talk about the rules because he's very familiar with those. But I'm just I can put this up. Is this coming up? Can you see
I see something. I see something.
Yeah,
I
we
see
see
the
some
website.
of it.
see some of the screen?
Yeah, I see the website.
Okay, let me try that again. Sorry. I should practice
Oh,
this.
real stuff. Oh, I see. Okay. I was thinking fishing. Or
Oh,
Can you see it now? Yeah. Okay, so it's on our website right now, and it says please support NJ Real rules. And if you click on the watershed.org link, it will take you to this where you can sign the petition down below to support this. And I think it's something that's really important for us to support. And other lake groups are doing it too. So, Steve, would you speak to what the real rules are about and why that's important to people that are advocates for lakes?
Well, I mean, it was an update of the New Jersey Stormwater Management Rules, NJC 7:8. It basically, once again promotes the implementation of or the utilization of green infrastructure, to improve water quality, reduce flooding, et cetera. It applies specifically to new development and some forms of redevelopment. There's other aspects of it, though, that also apply to the flood stage, where New Jersey is going to is advanced, relative to all the other states in the country, where we're using projected rainfall values as opposed to historic rainfall values. So we're going to have more realistic flood data, number one, as opposed to using data that's over 20 years old to project, flood elevations. And in addition to that, there's some specific language that applies to development in these flood hazard areas and the additional elevation of structures. I believe, and Peter, just correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's an additional 3 feet above the 100-year flood elevation. Is it 3 feet or an additional foot?
I thought it's.
My comment is that the Deal Lake Commission should be very careful what they agree to support, because these regulations have a very negative impact on our coastal communities. Allenhurst, Deal, Interlake, and Lock Harbor all are going to have their flood hazard elevations elevated so significantly, 5 feet in some cases, that the properties that currently are above the flood hazard area elevation will no longer be, and may not even be able to get flood insurance. So I've attended numerous webinars, seminars on this, and a number of people and a number of organizations are opposed to that element of these rules.
That's we probably should take it off our website for now, Jeannie, until we talk about it more. But we don't have authorization to put it on, so I think we should take it off.
The stormwater management part of it Steve talked about is very positive.
That's important.
We all agree to that. All the towns have ordinances supporting it. But the flood hazard elevation is very, very different. And they're basically forcing it on us. People have opposed it. We have a Rutgers study that promoted it. And then the study changed and lowered their elevations. But the state has not agreed to support the lowering of the elevations.
And we gotta talk more about it, Jeannie.
Okay, let's do
We'll
that.
have to have, have to have a lawyer look at it. Peter's and just give his comments. I don't think we have to vote on it right now, but if we can talk about it more, vote on it next week.
Okay.
Because I didn't look at it all. So. Okay, thanks for the okay. Now, so I'm gonna open up, it's just at this present time, guys, I'm gonna open it up to the public. Motion.
A motion to open the meeting to the public? Second?
Second, Asbury Park.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, anybody in the public? Just raise your hand or just jump in. Go ahead. Is that Bob? Bob?
Yeah, hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, just real quick. Our paddle for Deal Lake Watershed Alliance is coming up next weekend.
Oh,
It's Saturday the 24th, 9 a.m. If anybody wants to sign up, I'll
2
put
weeks. Is that May 20?
May 24th.
Oh, 2 weeks.
No.
No, next week. Next weekend.
Oh, now, yeah, so I've got.
So
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to put the link into the chat if everybody wants to sign up.
Are you gonna start from Asbury or?
What's that, Don?
You gonna start from Asbury then?
Yep, right at the 7-Eleven, right at the ramp.
Okay. Are you heading north or south?
We're going to head up to the golf course, to the Deal Lake golf course.
Gotcha.
That's the best. This time of year, it's the best time to see the birds.
Okay. Great.
All right, thanks.
Sorry that I didn't know, Bob. I would have put it out in the newsletter that just went out.
That's okay, Jeannie. Don't worry about it. Appreciate it.
We get it on the Facebook page. You guys have digits on that, Bob?
Yeah, I'm going to put
I think it's both on Facebook page, right?
Yeah, if you want to send it, I can put it on we can put it on the website and the Facebook page, like Don said.
Okay. Yeah, I just put the link in the chat, Jeannie.
Okay,
Thanks.
sure. Thanks for doing it. Everybody loves it.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks doing them these days. All of a sudden, there's a lot of other groups wanting to do paddles out there. So I feel really good about it.
Yeah.
Paddle time's helping out with it. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Anybody that knows, there is, I sent that out in the newsletter. The Monmouth County Park System is now doing paddles on 3 lakes, and Deal Lake is one of them. So this is the second time that they have chosen Deal Lake as a lake to paddle on out of their 3. So
That's because they're commissioners of paddling islands. That's why.
what?
The sheriff's out on the lake. That's why.
That's why. No, I don't.
No, I'm only kidding. Okay.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah,
So if you wanted to look at that, then you go to the Monmouth County Parks website and you can find the dates for those 3. If it's 3 lakes, it's you're committed to those 3. That's what when you pay your fee.
Okay. Anybody else in the public? Okay. We'll close it.
A motion to close the public hearing?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And our next meeting is June 19th, correct?
Yes. Does anybody have a problem with that?
And Laser Lake just indicated last night that they're changing their meeting date from the 18th to the 19th.
Oh,
So that could be a problem. Maybe you should look into
What
that.
time is their meeting?
7 o'clock for a workshop and 7:30 for a council meeting. It's a holiday, but the state doesn't recognize it's Juneteenth. But the state doesn't, this is ridiculous too. Sorry to be this way. But if Juneteenth is a holiday, why does the state take off June 20th? Do they not care about Juneteenth? I'd like them to answer that.
Shouldn't we just do that?
That's the professionals had the problem.
So they can have a 4-day weekend?
Do we switch meeting dates? Is everybody available on June 18th?
Sure. June what?
June 18th, the day before?
I got it.
Something. Oh, wait.
It's a Wednesday. It's a Wednesday.
Could be here on the 19th, maybe we could meet here on the 18th. Okay.
Okay. Well, tentatively, do you want to make a motion to
Motion,
the 18th?
the 18th.
Make a motion to move the meeting to the 18th? That sounds. Seven.
Second, that.
Pending the approval.
Pending approval of.
Are we voting on June 18th then?
Yes.
Yeah.
7 p.m.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And then once we get it started. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's hybrid, June
Sure, thank you.
7th.
Sorry.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, so that'll be fine because they're not meeting on the 18th. So that's really something.
Ah.
On the 18th. Okay.
Okay, so it is what you need. Yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Bennett, let's go.
Carol, I don't know, a minute. But speaking of Lori, I've been noticing a lot of construction around town, and I'm working with construction business in other municipalities where silt fencing is always required around areas of, significant disturbance, and I think that I'm gonna go see if I can talk with Interlake about maybe making that part of a construction permit. It would help contain litter, construction free, and, make sure that things stay away from the soil and weather is supposed to be changed.
Time is good for that because they just had a property they asked me to look at after construction was finished. And I said this required drilled soil permit and they never mandated it. So they understand now that construction and zoning have to process. If it's more than 5,000 square feet of area.
Yep, and municipalities are working.
And actually the borough could adopt an ordinance requiring soil erosion controls on every property, which is not.
When the bridge is hidden.
Wow.
Not there inside the oil and continually trying to make people realize that what they do at their house, what they put on their lawn, if they wash their car in the driveway, what chemicals they
Right.
power wash their house with. It trickles down to the curb and goes into Deal Lake and that everything is connected.
And they swim it.
Yeah, and it's connected to the ocean too.
That actually speaks to what I was thinking. So I'm walking the dog in the pouring rain yesterday. There's some construction going around here. The mud in the gutter, the water in the gutter was filled with sediment that was
Yes.
running off of properties.
It drives me crazy.
Never.
Well, I think we're just continuing doing what we're doing and with the projects and trying to get more grants so we can help to clean up the lake. And whatever happened we were doing the islands for a while.
Is that other community?
You mean, that was years ago, that was in 2016 now. Yeah, we built them.
They're still out there.
They're in.
They're still out there, but we're gonna do
They're floating
more.
around, they're floating more.
Can we do more?
No, not right now. Not with the grant, we can do our own, we do our own money. They feel like that, they don't make a lot of sense, they make more sense in the smaller ponds.
They do better, they do well at sunset.
They make great sense. And Western Lake weren't doing bad, but the wind really.
We have a bad
ripped them up.
storm, was the, hold up, smoking donuts.
They've been floating around for a while.
I've chased them a few times.
But they actually, the big news on Wesley, they have family of swans born
Yeah.
on our way. Yes.
I wondered if
That was there.
response.
Yep, that was a swan. So I got a picture of them, their geese. Oh, no.
Well, because they're born till that, yeah.
They were those. So that's a big deal in Wesley. So,
Wow.
and they are, we're the.
No, I was just thinking if we had more islands, I mean, I don't know how many we put up, but if we did more.
About 15, it was about.
But it's a big lake, 15 is not enough, right?
Yeah, but there's, for a big lake like this, it doesn't make.
Maintaining them because they
It's a lot of
move.
things. They move.
Sometimes
And
they
the
move
motors,
in
I mean,
places that
it's-
could be pulled out of.
To get geese, to find geese like them, we had geese goose nets initially,
Yeah,
but the geese in the early season, they do make nests there. Without,
there was one on Sunset.
yeah, but it was a good one. Mr. Nutton.
Oh, well, I'd just like to compliment you, Don and Pete, for all your perseverance on CB Square.
Thanks.
Probably that's moving. I've been on this committee a long time, and we've always talked about what the impact of CB Square has on our Deal Lake. So taking these steps is a big deal.
It is.
Congratulations.
Right. Between that and the flu, we're good.
Two good projects. Two real good projects.
Moving the Philippine Island, we another, that's on my list.
It's fun.
That's someday. Making it a 19th hole. Or so, build a area by Deal golf course. That's my provision, something. Anyway, okay. Jeannie?
No, thank you. I already said what I needed to say, so thanks.
Me, you know what? Being a grandfather first time.
Congratulations. We're so happy for you.
I don't have any pictures to show you. Sorry, that's good. That's good. So the kid's pretty good. He went home from the hospital today. He was there for about a week because his temperature was low. And they got it up and he got beefed up a little bit and he got on the right. That's right. He did wear a little green. I thought he was a Celtic fan for a while. So a little concerned. But hey, all is good.
Congratulations.
But yeah, thanks. So we're happy with that. Okay, that's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thanks for coming. Sworn, were you there the whole time?
Yes.
No, yeah, I joined like 10 minutes after because I was just jumping off another meeting and just.
Okay. Did you hear the good news about the DEP, what they're talking about with Wesley Lane?
Yes,
Seems
I
like
did.
incorporating that, this was a really good idea.
Yep.
Okay. That's it. We'll talk more tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.